Good afternoon, I'm Laura Skryzypczyk.
And I'm Michelle Stewart.
How long can Americans depend on their health insurance?
And News Central examines the recent Fact Finders report on clerical union negotiations. Mark Moses with weather and Sal Giaco with sports. Coming up on News Central.
Serving the Mount Pleasant community and Central Michigan University. With Michelle Stewart, Laura Skryzypczyk, Mark Moses with weather, and Sal Giaco with sports. This is News Central.
The fact-finding report has been completed and reviewed by university officials and union clericals. Amanda Street has a story.
Seems like a forgotten subject on the campus of Central Michigan University, but to university officials and union clericals, the bargaining may have just begun. The state fact-finding report has been completed. Fact finder Bernard Klein has recommended no salary increase for the current contract, 5% for the second, and 4% for the 93-94 year. Klein agreed union officers should be allowed to continue to have 2 hours of paid time per day to conduct union business.
I feel that the recommendation that the fact finder rendered on this case is a positive step towards both sides returning to the table and reaching a fair and equitable settlement.
In the report, Russ Heron says the university is pleased with the suggestion of no salary increase for this year, but one problem the university has to face is that the financial condition of the university has worsened since the fact finder reviewed the situation. The report isn't a binding contract, and what happens now is left up to the two bargaining teams.
I've met with the bargaining team, the UAW's bargaining team. Now we will meet with our board, our executive board tonight. Then tomorrow night we will meet with our membership. Most of it has already been put out in the press, but we will present it to our membership, answer any questions, and then we're ready to return to the table.
Amanda Street, News Central.
University officials couldn't be reached for comment. According to the Morning Sun, CMU Assistant Director of Employee Relations, James Wood, says officials will review the report and prepare to begin bargaining within the next 2 weeks. Smashed windows ruined some local residents' weekend as over 40 people complained about their car windows being shattered. According to Mount Pleasant City Police, someone was driving in a car using either a pump-up gas or pellet gun to shoot out windows of parked cars. Apparently, the damage is throughout the city, yet the concentration is heaviest in the South Washington and South Main Street areas. Although the incident is under investigation, Mount Pleasant City Police urge you to call the police station if you have any information regarding these incidents.
How far will your health insurance go? Well, numerous victims concerning having cancer, AIDS, and other serious illnesses are finding out that under recent court interpretations, their insurance coverage may disappear when they need it most. The U.S. Supreme Court decision has made it difficult for patients under all kinds of health insurance plans to sue and get benefits they say have been unfairly denied. Bob Griss, a United Cerebral Palsy Association researcher, said government surveys indicate 8 million Americans younger than 65 have the kind of chronic ailments, including cancer, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, that could put them at risk of losing coverage. Still, 2/3 of nation's employees are approving their own coverage, often exceeded that most states require. The reason being is not to reduce coverage, but to economize, paying less to insurance companies and averting the costs of complying with various state laws. For the past 2 weeks, News Central has been trying to receive comments from local state offices on Governor Engler's new health plan. We believe most state buildings have accepted most of the governor's proposals. News Central's Candy Kovlesh explains the new health plan.
Governor John Engler has a prescription for a healthier Michigan which stops public smokers from lighting up. The major issue the governor seeks to control is a crackdown on public smoking, especially among young people. Eta Sigma Gamma, the health honorary at Central Michigan University, urged Governor Engler to pass the smoking bill by sending postcards to the Capitol. As a result, the governor proposes to ban all smoking in state buildings and prohibiting tobacco sales on state property. The plan establishes the right of kindergarten through 12th grade students to attend smoke-free schools and the right of college students to live in smoke-free student housing. Governor Engler will ban all sales of cigarettes through vending machines and require cigarettes sold by the pack to be placed behind the counter. Stiff fines will be placed on retailers who sell tobacco to minors as well as minors who purchase them. The governor also purports to support amendments to Michigan's Clean Indoor Air Act to increase the percentage of non-smoking restaurant seating to 50%. In addition, Michigan's Department of Public Health has received a $9 million grant to promote Governor Engler's anti-smoking agenda. So, for now, it looks as if non-smokers are in and tobacco smokers are out. I'm Candy Cobflesh for News Central. Stay healthy.
Students at MSU will no longer be able to pay their tuition bills by credit card. However, students may pay only half of their bills, beginning with the new system at the beginning of the semester. The rest of the balance due can be paid in 2 installments throughout the semester. Under the old system, students could put up to $499 on credit cards, but had to pay the full amount due during registration. The change will save MSU $100,000 since it will no longer have to process credit card approvals. More grave robbing has been reported in Lansing. According to Ingham County Sheriff's Department, a crypt and a casket at the village cemetery in Danville has been disturbed and 2 handles to the casket were stolen. 3 Mason men are being sought out for the arrest, according to Sheriff Gene Wigglesworth. The men are being charged with malicious destruction of a memorial to the dead, burglary, and larceny.
A jury has been selected to hear the trial of a Michigan State football player, Carlos Marino, who was arrested April 7, 1991. Marino, who played tight for the Spartans until 1990, is accused of intent to deliver more than 50, but less than 225 grams of cocaine. According to Ingham County Circuit Judge Carolyn Stell, the trial will last between 2 to 3 days while the jury hears from 10 witnesses. And if you've been wondering why the new state-of-the-art recycling center was going to get underway, you're probably among many. Talk about the new recycling center originally began in 1990 with a projected opening date in the fall of 1991. But the opening date has been delayed to the possible fall of this year due to problems designing the building. The recycling facility's operations manager, Randy Smith, says it will be state-of-the-art in the way that the materials are processed. Special machinery will be used to separate containers made of glass, aluminum, and plastic, as well as paper. Smith adds the new center will recycle up to 3,000 more tons a year from the current recycling facility. He says the next step will be to advertise for bids on the construction of the project. And he hopes the actual construction will begin this summer for the $1.8 million recycling center. The new facility is funded by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
Boblo Island Amusement Park is once again up for sale. Real estate broker Tom O'Brien of Windsor says the price tag of the park is $9 million. The owner, International Broadcasting Corporation of Minneapolis, is $80 million in debt and has filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company paid $21 million for Boblo just 4 years ago. Regardless of whether a deal is made, the park will remain open as scheduled in May. 9 people were injured today as a car crashed through a window at the emergency room of a Detroit hospital. Officials at Sinai Hospital say the driver apparently thought the car was in neutral and mistook the accelerator for the brake pedal. The driver walked away with minor injuries and was treated and released at the hospital. Following the crash, the emergency room was closed to ambulances for about 3 hours.
So, Mark, will the puddles be drying up for us in the future?
Coming up in world news, Laura, what's going on?
World news, before the weather, we'll have some decisions on the resignation of Prime Minister Levy.
And on the national scene, Bill Clinton causes more controversy with his new announcement. Up next on News Central.
This is Anna. She has a lot. She has a mother who loves her and a roof over her head. But tar paper walls don't keep out the night chill. She doesn't have enough to eat, sometimes little more than tortillas. She doesn't have the books and supplies she needs to stay in school. And education is her key to a better life. Anna and others like her need someone to help. Could you help? For over 25 years, Children Incorporated has been matching children like Anna with sponsors like you. Your tax-deductible donation of only $21 each month will help provide food, clothes, medical care, and education. You'll receive a picture of the child you're helping and opportunity for personal contact. Please don't wait. Imagine how your help will make Anna or a child like her feel. You can give hope. Write or call Children Incorporated, 1-800-538-5381. That's Children Incorporated, 1-800-538-5381.
And fellow mountain goats, this year's recipient of the treasured Black Horn Award, Richard Lynch. Come on up here, Dick.
What are you doing this weekend that's so important you can't take a little time to test your home for radon? After all, it is the second leading cause of lung cancer, and a radon test kit is inexpensive. You could pick one up on your way to the lodge.
His admission to using marijuana as a student in England over 20 years ago has sparked even more controversy around Bill Clinton's presidential campaign. He made the confession in a debate with Jerry Brown yesterday when the candidates were asked about their past. Clinton explains why he hadn't revealed this information earlier.
I asked this direct question before, and I said, I just told the truth.
How do you think the public will perceive it?
That when I was 22 and in England, I did what most everybody else did over there. I tried it a couple of times. I literally didn't like it, never did it again.
Governor, do you think it'll hurt your campaign? That admission? Governor, do you see potential political damage from that admission?
Well, I don't think it hurt Senator Gore 4 years ago, or Governor Babbitt. It certainly didn't keep Clarence Thomas off the Supreme Court.
There are indications, however, that Clinton might have trouble with public trust. A New York survey showed 57% of those polled don't think he has the honesty or the integrity to serve as president. Republican presidential nominee Patrick Buchanan isn't commenting on Clinton's announcement, though Buchanan himself says he's never used illegal drugs. Instead, his concerns have shifted from President Bush or other candidates to the scandals plaguing Congress. Florida's highest court today ruled against hearing the case of an infant girl born without most of her brain. Her parents had hoped to donate the baby's organs for transplant, asking for an emergency ruling declaring that all babies born without a cerebrum are dead at birth. At this point, doctors aren't sure any of the baby's organs can even be used. However, baby Teresa's parents will continue the battle as a matter of principle. CMU Assistant Professor of Religion, Dr. Michael Stemler, and co-instructor of a class that explores such cases, says Florida's decision is basically preventing any good from the situation.
Being born without the cerebrum will make any kind of consciousness, self-consciousness, and the development of an ability to interact socially impossible. That's why I do not understand the decision of the Florida Supreme Court to disallow the parents of baby Teresa to declare their daughter brain dead.
The crash at New York's LaGuardia Airport a week ago has left passengers wondering if they can get off a plane if they feel it's too risky. U.S. Air Flight 405 crashed about half an hour after it was last de-iced. 27 passengers died. Survivors say several people considered getting off the plane. A spokesman for United Airlines says a pilot probably would return to the gate if passengers showed extreme concern for their safety. He says the #1 cause for alarm among passengers is bad weather, and anyone is allowed off if their personal safety seems at risk.
The resignation of Israeli Foreign Minister David Levy has placed a cloud over the Middle East peace talks. Levy announced his decision yesterday, effective next week. A senior PLO leader says Levy's absence will make it impossible to reach a settlement with the government Yashik Shamir. U.S. officials credit Levy with drawing Shamir to the negotiating table. The foreign minister's resignation comes just as the U.S. reportedly is sending invitations to a new round of Middle East peace talks. Libya has told the Arab League 2 suspects can surrender voluntarily, but it will not force them to go. A week-long controversy of the 2 men accused of bombing a U.S. airliner has ended. Libya has decided it would avoid confrontation over Western demands. Egyptian Foreign Minister Amir Moussa says the crisis has reached an extremely critical and sensitive stage, and he doesn't know if there are any proposals this moment that could stop matters of certain points. Moussa adds that his biggest government will keep trying until the last moment. The UN Security Council is putting pressure on Libya to hand over the suspected terrorists. The UN Security Council is ready and will vote today on a proposal to improve sanctions unless Libya delivers the 2 suspects for trial by April 15th. The U.S. and Britain want Libya to turn over the 2 men that they believe bombed Pan Am Flight 103 in Lockerbridge, Scotland, that killed 270 people. Libya has told the Arab League that men can surrender voluntarily, but it will not force them to go. And President Bush says he will announce an aid package this week to the former Soviet Union's republics. The president briefly discussed a package with reporters as he walked from church back to the White House yesterday. The proposal is supposed to include $7 billion to stabilize the ruble. More help is also suggested to help international monetary funds that could make loans to the Commonwealth nations. The president suggests that the package first requires congressional approval, but other portions could be dispersed right away. Next in the weather, puddles, will they be going away now?
Oh, the puddles will be going away, but the cold air doesn't seem to be going away. It's hanging around, and it doesn't look like it's going to warm up for the rest of the week. I'll tell you all about it coming up next.
compete, you've got to be strong. To win, you've got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Used in the world in the last 40 years, none had more power than this one.
Now here's a few reasons why you should watch All Kidding Aside. All Kidding Aside, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 p.m. on Moore Hall, Channel 34.
Currently, the temperature stands at 45 degrees, the humidity is 56%, while the dew point is 32 and the barometer is 29.92 and falling. The wind is out of the west at calm at 9 miles per hour, and the sun sets today at 6:04. Looking at conditions around the nation, we can see that there is not too much happening over on the west coast. There we go, bring it up on there. This front's over in the eastern side, which is causing a lot of bad weather for them. They still have a tornado watch down for the southern panhandle of Florida all the way up into Arizona, up into Alabama and Georgia, and that's bringing a lot of heavy rain over in that area. They've had reports of some golf ball sized hail, so it's being, and lucky we're not getting that, but we are getting the cold air. This stationary front that we have up in here is bringing us our partly cloudy skies we've had for today, but it's not really going to produce too much. We might get a few rain or a few sprinkles or maybe even a chance of some snow out of that, but it's really nothing too much to worry about. While out in the west, they're getting a little rain out of there from that weak low pressure system that's moving into this area, but there's this high pressure system that will be moving into our area for later on. We'll be bringing our skies cloudy, but we still will have that cold temperature because the jet stream, of course, dips right down in here, and it's right over Michigan, giving us that cold air while the rest of the nation remains warmer, but we still will be cold. As we look around the state, we can see that it is mostly cloudy over the southern half of the state, while up in the UP it is partly sunny, and it's starting to cloud up around in our area, while the cold spot is actually Mount Pleasant at 37 degrees, and it's even warmer up in Marquette at 39, while down in Kalamazoo it is 42 and 45 for the warm up in Alpena and in Traverse City. Well, we can take a look at the forecast right now. We can see that it will be partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 27. The winds will be out of the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And on Tuesday, partly sunny, and there still is that 30% chance of showers as we see that that stationary front move through the area, and a high of 42. On into Wednesday, there's that still lingering chance of snow showers, and a high of 35 and low of 24. And Thursday, partly cloudy, again a high of 35 but a low of 18. And hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be warming up. The weekend looks like it might be turning out nice.
Great news. I think we all need to hear that.
Yep, that's good.
Sal's up next with sports.
Another fabulous performance by the Wolverines as they downed the Buckeyes and danced their way into the Final Four. Details ahead in sports.
In Salisbury, Maryland, the hungry are being fed. In Wind Falls, Indiana, a man who learned to read at 47 is making sure others learn earlier. In Hope, New Mexico, people turned an abandoned school into a thriving community center. In Boston, Massachusetts, neighbors set up a crime hotline that's making their streets safer. From Seattle to Galveston, from Buffalo to Fargo, every day, someone in America is doing something to light up another life. But there is so much more to do. The light to do it is within us all. We only need to share it. Contact the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Honey, it's Mom. Please let me in. I'm worried.
Learn to see the signs of mental illness. 2 out of 3 people who get help get better. For a free booklet, call the American Mental Health Fund.
We made it. Hey, I couldn't have gotten through physics without you.
Yeah, well, you're on your own at college.
It's not fair.
That's all right. I'm gonna get a job, you know, I'm gonna start working, I'm gonna save, and I'll be in college in another year or 2.
So, what do you have planned, Mike?
I think I'm gonna go home and make a sandwich.
Support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Some good news for those of you wanting to see the Red Wings in the playoffs. The NHL players just a few hours ago extended the strike deadline until high noon on Wednesday. Today was supposed to be the final day, but the players needed some extra time to think about management's latest offer. If an agreement isn't reached by Wednesday, the players' strike would be the first of its kind in the league's 75-year history. Okay, what a game yesterday between Michigan and Ohio State. If you missed this one, you ought to kick yourself in the behind. I'll tell you, this Michigan team is for real. If you didn't believe in them before, you got to believe in them now. Yeah, I know they're freshmen, but they certainly don't play like them. Yesterday, they beat Big Ten champion Buckeyes, a team they lost. They lost to them twice in the regular season. Not this time, though. The Wolves beat them, and when it counted, 75-71 in OT. Michigan and the Fab Five were ready for this one, including Chris Webber. Look at this strong move inside for the reverse stuff. But the Buckeyes had their answer, like Lawrence Thunderbird. This game was back and forth, and Chris Webber was up and down. Steve Fisher's got to like what he sees from his big man inside. Now late in the contest, game tied, but Jamal Brown puts the Buckeyes up too. You think his dad was fired up about that one. Yeah, he was. But Michigan didn't choke. They kept their cool. Jalen Rose on a leaner. It doesn't go, but Webber on the box-out tip-in. Last chance by Ohio State. Chris Gents follow. No, the game goes into overtime. And in the OT, Michigan was cool. Jimmy Jackson, well, first Jimmy Jackson puts Ohio State up, but then Michigan comes back. Jimmy King for three. Good. But look again, and Webber himself gets himself free, and you know where he puts the ball, and Michigan's on their way to the Final Four.
When you reach a dream, you really don't know how to react. And it was just a feeling I wanted to reflect with about myself. And I really don't know how it will feel for us to go to the Final Four because I've never been there before.
So 6th-seeded Michigan will go against number 4-seed Cincinnati Bearcats, who perhaps is the biggest surprise of the tournament. Cincy, of course, crushing Memphis State yesterday and coming into the Final Four, winning 19 of their last 20 games. Probably the most underrated, but no doubt the hottest team in the Final Four. That game will tip off Saturday, April 4th at 5:42, followed by the big matchup between number 1 Duke against who else? Bobby Knight and those Indiana Hoosiers, an 8:15 start. And you know that game will be a dandy. On to the NBA hardwood, where the Detroit Pistons are just trying to notch up that 4th playoff spot. They are neck and neck with the Boston Celtics and for that all-important home court advantage in the first round. Yesterday, the Pistons took on the Spurs at the Palace, but there was a missing link in San Antonio's lineup, a big link. David Robinson, who sat out with an injured hand. That definitely makes things a bit easier for Detroit. They went on to win it 107-103 at the Palace. And hey, look who's back, our old friend Vinnie Johnson. They still love the microwave at the Palace, and Isaiah will give him a nice hand. But on the court, it's all business. Look at the circus shot. You tell me how this one falls. Unbelievable. What's this, Dennis Rodman with no rebounds? This can't be true. Actually, the Worm was a little under the weather with an upset stomach. Meanwhile, Vinnie Johnson, looking like the old Vinnie we used to know. A pair of leaners kept the Spurs close. But here comes Rodman out of nowhere, stomach pains and all, with the follow-up dunk. And then in crunch time, Dumar's taking Vinny to school to lay in, and the Pistons hang on to win. In the NHL, the Detroit Red Wings, like you and me, are just waiting to see how this strike mess is all going to unfold. As I mentioned earlier, the deadline was extended until noon on Wednesday. That means the Wings will play in Chicago tomorrow night, but that game really doesn't mean anything because Detroit clinched the Norris Division title yesterday with a 6-2 win over the New York Islanders. Pick them up the action in the first. Watch the New York goaltender coming up right here. He loses his stick, so he picks up someone else's lumber and uses that. Didn't really help him. Konstantinov puts it past him anyways. Fitzpatrick a little upset, you might say. Second period, Wings applying more pressure from the shot from the point is wide, but Yzerman there to rebound the carom, his 40th of the year, and putting the Wings up 3-0. They weren't through yet. On the power play, watch the passing. Yzerman to Yzerman, who sets up Carson in the slot. He finds the top shelf. Detroit just too much to handle. Here are the finishing touches. Yzerman again is second of the game, and the Wings take the division title. And finally, in NFL news, boy, it sure would have been nice to have this guy, but All-Pro linebacker Pat Swilling will stay in New Orleans. Today, the Saints matched the $5.6 million offer made by the Lions last week. That means Swilling will remain with the Saints, at least for the next few years anyways. The 27-year-old Swilling said he was pleased with the Saints matching, but just wished it didn't take so long. Today was the last day New Orleans had to match Detroit's $1 million offer. That'll do it with sports.
Sounds like the NFL's shaping up.
Yep, getting ready, prime time. Got a while yet, though.
Okay, well, thanks, Sal. Sure. And from all of us at News Central, good night.
Good night.